Hey guys, so this is going to be a review of Dante the Divine Comedy. I finally read it. So first off, we'll talk about the translation. This translation is translated by Clive James. I do believe this is the most recent translation. I did read one review on Goodreads that kind of said that he kind of changed the way it was styled and some of the words were changed compared to what Dante originally wrote. And that happens with translations. If you read the Bible, there's loads of different translations, words are changed, that sort of thing, to try to fit with like the modern day and easier to read. Saying that, even though it's more of a modern translation, there were some parts I did struggle to read. I think I mentioned one of those videos, I will post his video down below in the description anyway, where he kind of commentaries each book in the Dante comedy thing, because at times it is hard to kind of visualize, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so if you follow me on Instagram, you would know I reviewed each book. It wasn't like a proper review, it was in the stories where I did a summary of each one. So I gave Inferno 3, Purgatory 4, and Heaven 3.5. So just to point out, this is all based on fantasy. It's very, very loosely on Christianity. Also based on specifically the Catholic doctrine, because he was Catholic. As I said in the kind of thing, it's kind of obvious in the book, because Catholics are the only ones, I believe, that believe in purgatory. So there's that. You can look up the history of Dante, how this how these poems came about and stuff like that. Just to point out, if you don't know or never heard of the Divine Comedy, it's basically books of poetry. So it's not like a story. It's written as poetry, if that makes any sense. Just in case you didn't know, I mean, it does say that I picked up poetry, but in case you don't know, it's not like a story book. It's poetry. So as I said, it's loosely based on Christians. I can't comment on the Catholic thing because I'm not really kind of knowledgeable in the Catholic doctrine. I do know at one point they did come forward, because there's a bit of controversial when it comes to like Inferno, which I'm gonna mention in a minute. So it's very loosely based. It's a guy's idea of basically what hell, purgatory, and heaven would be kind of like. So it's not like John Milton who based on proper like scriptural things and just kind of extends it. Again, it's kind of like loosely based on what could happen and stuff, but it's more firmed in scripture where this isn't. So this is a very political book at the time. So at the time, this was to do with as again, you can search out the history and stuff, but it's where it was basically against the Pope and the person in charge of Rome. I can't remember now if it was can't as I said, loosely based basically, because but it's based on that. So whatever was happening there, obviously he was on the Pope's side, so it's kind of like, if he didn't like you, you're in hell. If he liked you, you're in heaven, and that kind of thing. So it is very political. He cares a lot about the city of Florence. If you didn't know the backstory, again, he was kind of kicked out of Florence because of his beliefs. So there's that as well. So he mentions a lot about Florence. Another thing which I found was a bit weird, it mix like Greek gods with Christianity, which is just weird in itself. I don't know why you would do that. I don't know. I just found, I just found that very, very weird. There was some stuff in there that Catholics agree with I don't agree with completely, like about unbaptized babies. Let's just put, I'm not gonna get into the Catholic doctrine because I'm reviewing. This is reviewing of this book, so I'm not going to get into that. As I said, I did like Purgatory the most. I think it's because I don't know. I felt pitiful But then again, it's not a real place, and I think it's just a human way of thinking that we all get a second chance when we die, and we actually don't. That is it. Once we're dead, that is it. You're either going to heaven or hell. There's no purgatory. I'm sorry if you believed it, because I'm not gonna lie, I believed it at one point. Because don't forget, before I was saved, when I was younger, I did go to a Catholic school, a Catholic primary school and a secondary school. So purgatory was in there, even though I wasn't really a believer. But so it was a hard pill to swallow to find out. Oh, by the way, purgatory is not real. But I think it's like, as I said, it's human nature to think we get a second chance, and we just don't. We really don't. I'm going back to Inferno. I thought Inferno was a bit of a mess, if I'm going to be honest. Everything was happening all at once, and it was like, and Heaven, which some woman said that Heaven was his favorite book. I was like, it's all right. It gets better near the end. It has a sweet ending, but I don't know. I gave that a 3.5. I think it's better than Inferno, but as I said, I prefer Purgatory. More so probably out of interest, and as I said, I felt kind of pity as well. Um, but yeah. And I've got to mention, because it's Catholic, there is what's the word? Um, what do you word? I can't think of the word, but Mary's mentioned a lot, like the glorification of Mary. Again, I'm not getting into that because this is just a review of the book. But overall, I gave it a 3.5. It's one of those ones which I recommend reading at least once in your lifetime. You're going to enjoy it. Just remember, it's pure fantasy. It's pure fantasy. There's actually people out there that literally take this as doctrine, and it's like, yeah, it just going into it knowing it's pure fantasy, and it's just a guy's idea of what he thinks hell, purgatory and heaven is, and it's all like layers as well. So hell's got layers, purgatory has layers, heaven has layers. Just remember as well, the time he was writing it as well would be a heavily influence as to what he thought as well. So yeah, that's it for this review. So bye guys.